I started Map Kibera first and foremost because people everywhere are experts on their own places. People creating their own data for their own purposes not only produces the highest quality maps, but is the most ethical and respectful approach. In 2009, Map Kibera began with working with residents and youth to put the Kibera slum of Nairobi, Kenya on the map for the first time. And for 10 years now, I've been working on making mapping more accessible to people in vulnerable communities, connecting them to OpenStreetMap and open source tools. I've just returned from Nairobi, looking back on 10 years of this work, bringing information to influence leaders on issues like health, education, and security, documenting changes on the ground, highlighting ingenuity as well as needs of people in slum communities. But unfortunately, it's still rare that people are asked to map in their own community, in spite of the spread of OSM mapping over the years. Most of the time, it is those with more education and wealth that enjoy opportunity to become skilled mappers. I think as mapping grows in popularity, it's all the more important to think about how the tools of mapping are not only made accessible to the most vulnerable, but also doing so in a sustainable way. It's not enough to do one-off community-driven mapping projects here and there. I've been researching this topic of sustainability of OSM in developing countries in the past year. The major challenges to sustainability include financial and economic challenges, sociopolitical challenges, institutional challenges, and technological challenges. All of these I've detailed so far in my research. What I'd like to do is dig deeper into this topic. We now have this added challenge of advancing technologies that threaten to make the human element of mapping less central, unless we start to discuss more widely topics of whose map is it and for whom are we mapping. I'd like to bring together the right people interested in access, power, economics, and equity in geography, discussing this together. I'd like to create guidelines around ethics of mapping that focus on people's access to both information and to the global marketplace as it relates to maps and map tools. I'd also like to talk to more people that live in and work on mapping in places like slums, urban spaces, remote rural areas, refugee camps, see how they can more sustainably access geographic information and tools. I'd like to see how we can start to tackle financial and other barriers to sustainability and equity in mapping. As we move into ever more advanced technologies, it's the least powerful who are the most likely to be left behind. We've discovered ways they can be engaged with data and maps for their own benefits. Now we need to talk about how we can make sure they are afforded every opportunity to be part of the global mapping world over the long run. Let's not leave any mapper behind.